Hi, I'm Bob Sample from Bob's Steak and Chop House, and today we have the great pleasure of visiting another DFW iconic restaurant, Quarter Acre. It's a restaurant that has only been open for 2 years. Toby is the owner chef, Toby Archibald, and I think it's an incredible honor that you've only been open 2 years, and OpenTable has already picked you as an iconic DFW restaurant. Um, I think back to when I was open 2 years, back in 1995, and I was probably anything but an iconic restaurant at that time. I was fighting to stay alive, let's put it that way. And Toby, you and I talked a little bit. First of all, thank you for doing this. I know you're busy. This is a very busy restaurant. Um, and like I always say, being a restaurateur, I always get a certain feeling when I walk into restaurants. So immediately when I walked in here, you immediately came up to me, then Michael, the GM, came up to me, and Jacob, the beverage manager, came up to me. And already I feel the camaraderie here, and I feel that there's obvious reasons why you've been picked as an iconic restaurant. So first, thank you. Second, tell us a little bit about you and where you came from and how you ended up here.
Well, of course, thank you for coming in and thanks for organizing this. This is a treat, and you're right. It's a privilege to be in the OpenTable Icons, especially first time they do it here in Dallas. So, yeah, it was a big deal for us. We didn't expect that. Like you said, almost 2 years open, and to be put alongside people such as yourself, who obviously are iconic in the city, long before these awards were there, is pretty special. For me, it's been a long journey, as it is for everyone that eventually gets to open their own restaurant. I'm from New Zealand, and about 2006, after working at some good restaurants in New Zealand, I traveled. I lived in London, UK for 3 years, working at a Michelin restaurant. I worked off and on in Canada, working at great restaurants, and then I worked in New York, working for Daniel Boulud at his Michelin star restaurant, Cafe Boulud, which a weekend away in Chicago. That's where I met my now wife. She's from Dallas, which is why I'm in Dallas, and we've lived here 8 years now. And yeah, we opened Quarter Acre almost 2 years ago. So it's been a huge life journey, and the last 2 years have gone by. Sometimes it feels like in a blink of an eye, and then sometimes it feels like it's taken 10 years to go. Mm-hmm. and it's tough, like you said. After 2 years, you just remember thinking it's hard and it's a struggle, and every day there's something new pops up, but it's such a reward. And then when someone like OpenTable turns around and says, "We think you're iconic," that's very special.
Tell me about why it's called Quarter Acre, and what was your idea behind it, and how did it all come about?
Sure. So Quarter Acre, firstly, is a saying we have in New Zealand. It's called the Quarter Acre Dream, and it's New Zealand's such a little country, and the dream growing up is that you get your own quarter acre of land, which is a plot size with a 3 or 4 bedroom house, backyard with the kids running around, and you're close enough to your job that you've done it. You've got your little piece of the world. That's your quarter acre. So it's called a lot of New Zealanders aspire to have it. It's called the Quarter Acre Dream. And so when I got the chance to open a restaurant here in Dallas, and of course you think up different names, and this one really just stuck. Every time I thought about it, it just made sense for me, because I'm not from Dallas, but this is my little piece of the city, and it's a nice little nod to my New Zealand roots, which is what this restaurant is. And again, trying to work out what my first restaurant was going to be when I've spent so much of my life traveling and eating and cooking and visualizing what my first restaurant would look like and feel like. And then here in Dallas, you have to make sure you open something that will stay open. And so the feel and the look of this restaurant and the kind of food we serve is a culmination of my journey, my travels, my roots of New Zealand. But, so it's contemporary global food that really is approachable for people here in the city. And I love the food we're doing here. We're unique. We are very different to a lot of restaurants in this city, so it's fun, and it's a great feeling watching people walk in going, this is a bit different, and then when they walk out going, that was amazing. Thank you so much. And that's huge.
Yeah. Before we went on camera, you and I talked a little bit about Dallas and what it takes to be successful here, and we talked about menus and how as a talented chef that spent a lot of time learning his craft, you have ideas of, I know this people will love this. I know people, I'm going to put this on my menu. But tell us about that lesson you learned about your menu, because I was always taught that 80% of the menu should be what you know people want, and maybe 20% is what you think they want. And then once you open, the customers tell you.
Yeah.
So tell me about how that, when you dividing a menu, and where you got that thought, and how you said, I better remember this.
Yeah, it's true. You as a chef, your goal is to work. Well, my goal was to work in as many good restaurants under as many talented chefs as I could find. Start with the best and work with the best, as long as you're enjoying yourself whilst doing it. And so you gather all of this knowledge, and you eat all of these things in your travels, and you go, man, I can't wait to put all of this on a menu. But not everyone wants to eat what I want to eat. And in a city like Dallas that does have a particular taste, you have to make sure you are putting things on the menu that people will want to come back for. And working here, I helped open a restaurant, and the owner mentioned to me, he says, you can be as creative as you want, but there needs to be like 4 things on this menu that people know they can come back and have that every time, be it a chicken dish, a salmon dish, a beef fillet or tenderloin. They need to know that when they're at home trying to work out what they're doing for the weekend, or what are we having for dinner tonight, that's what they crave, and so they come back here. And then the rest of the menu you can get a little bit creative with, and that is constantly on my mind when coming up with new dishes here. I like to be a little whimsical with the food. I like to surprise people that, that's not what I thought I was going to get.
Yeah.
But you should eat it because it's delicious. But there needs to be things that they look at the menu and go, this is what I want to eat. I want to order that tonight. And that's, you have to be, again, that's just being smart at business as opposed to just being a creative chef.
Yeah. So you open up Quarter Acre. Was it immediately a success, the first 6 months, year?
Oh, the first 6 months were crazy.
Isn't that great?
It was so busy. It was great. The first 6 months was fantastic. And then obviously, we ran into summer, and every restaurant in Dallas go, good luck. And then we picked back up again at the end of last year. And then you start getting some acclaim. At the beginning of this year, we won 3rd best new restaurant in the state of Texas for 2023, which was a big deal.
Wow.
You think Texas is huge.
Yeah.
New Zealand fits into Texas maybe 5 times. So that's really special. That was very special. And it helps the team. It helps the team go, yeah, that's right. We are doing it. We are different. We are good. And then, you start getting the talent in the kitchen that you're looking for, and you start getting the talent at the front that you've been aiming to get, and it just snowballs from there. And then suddenly OpenTable turns around and says, we think you're iconic. You go, wow, we're not open 2 years, but sure, thank you so much, and it's so nice, because you can get trapped in the we've just got to keep going sort of mindset. And then for someone to turn around one day, you just get an email saying, we think you're amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. That just, the affirmation that what you are doing is the right way forward is fantastic.
Well, I always say, like my restaurant, we don't need to change. We just need to evolve. We need to always get better. Before I came here to talk with you, I was talking to Chef Samir at Nick and Sam's. And the one thing I admire about Samir is he goes in every day and tries to make his restaurant better. And that's what we all strive to do. That's what we all hope all our employees do. And tell me the biggest surprise in the 2 years of something that you just, you thought you were ready, but you were really surprised about something. Is there one thing or maybe 2 things that you can think about that was a big surprise to you after the first time you owned your own restaurant?
People ask me before we open, what's your biggest worry? And I said, it'll be staffing, because finding the level of staff that I'm looking for is going to be hard, because I didn't come up in Dallas, so I don't have this giant pool of people that I know. I know a good amount, but you don't know a whole team's worth. And
it's hard to get someone to leave a good job and come work for you
when you're on a question mark.
Yeah.
Like we think we're going to be good, but you don't know. And we think we're going to be busy, and you're going to get tips, or you don't know. And to be honest, it was harder than I thought. on the staff. That was really, really hard. And it was, you know, there was days you walk in, you're like, nah, I guess they're not showing up today, you know, and that really surprised me. But then I have the best view of the entire dining room because I'm in the kitchen and I'm looking at it. And my favorite part, and a huge surprise for me, is guests that walk in, I'm like, I don't know if they're going to like this restaurant. Just because of how they're dressed, the way they sort of act when they walk in. And then halfway through service, I look up and I'm frantic plating all the food. And I look up and they're standing right in front of me like, I'd never heard of this restaurant before. But my friend brought us in here tonight. And this is hands down the best meal I've ever had in the city. And you're like, awesome. And you want to give them a hug. You're like, I'm plating like 10 plates right now. And that surprises, it never ceases to surprise me. The people you just don't think you're going to enjoy what we're doing, and then they do. And it's great. Again, it just, you know it firsthand. It's so moments you're like, ooh, are we going to make it?
Yeah.
You know, and then you have people like that and you just keeps getting you out of bed every morning, you know?
Yeah. I've been doing it for a long time, and there are times when I'll be at the restaurant and I'll be talking with somebody or sitting down and having a drink with somebody or even having dinner, and a customer will come over or a server will say, hey, table 51 wants to talk to you. And I get up and go talk to them. And someone will say to me, isn't that, you get tired of that? I'm tired of it. That's what I dreamed about. Are you kidding me? If you ever get tired of a customer wanting to meet you or talk to you or tell you about your restaurant, then you need to get out of the business, because it's what we all dream about.
Yeah.
I mean, we all saw those restaurants that you walked in and the chef and the GM were just glowing, and they were just proud of what they were doing. And you're obviously proud of what you're doing. You've accomplished a lot in just 2 years. So when you sit here and you sit here all by yourself some days, like I do at Bob's, and you just kind of stare into space and say, what's next? What should I do? Obviously, you want to keep doing everything the same way, right? But what do you think is the next step for Quarter Acre, or is just keep doing what you're doing?
Definitely keep doing what we're doing. I think that's the first step for sure. I sometimes I sit at the bar and I have to actually, you'll love this, I actually have to go get the liquor menu and make sure whatever little whiskey I'm about to have a sip of isn't the expensive one.
Yeah.
Like, I can't drink that one. I'm going to have a little glass of that though. And we have to keep doing what we're doing because there's still so much of this city that doesn't know we exist. Yeah. Which, you know, everyone that comes to Dallas hears of Bob's, and so they should. Not everyone that comes to Dallas hears of Quarter Acre yet, and that's a goal. And I want it to be a goal that people coming to Dallas hear about us before they come. Yeah, that's a goal. And then after that, you know, more. I'd like more. I'd like to have more. Obviously, it's weird because the openings are so hard.
Yes.
But the satisfaction you get after, I think it's about 8 months, you turn around and you go, wow, look at that. It did that. We did that.
Yeah.
That's something that you look forward to again, and then suddenly you come up to breathe and you have other ideas, and you're like, well, that wouldn't work here, but what if I did it somewhere else? So I think that's something fun I'd like to get started with, something maybe a bit more casual than this, is another concept, a bit more casual.
Now you're open 7 days?
Currently open 5 days.
5 days. What are you closed? Sunday and Monday?
Sunday and Monday.
Okay. And dinner only?
Yes.
Which we are, and we're closed on Sundays. So on Monday, you need to come with your wife to eat at Bob's.
That'd be fantastic.
So we can serve you, and we'll have some expensive liquor.
There you go.
We'll bring out the good bottles, okay? Because then I can use the excuse, well, you know, Toby was here. I couldn't bring up the cheap stuff. I have to get the good stuff. But, you know, listen, I sincerely congratulate you on your success. You're exactly what our business needs. Young guys who get it, who work hard, who create something that the community is proud of, and then they're proud of, and you supply a great place for people to work in our industry, and we need more guys like you. And you made me think of an idea. I think when I'm all done with all these interviews, I'm going to pick one night and we're all going to have dinner together.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Okay?
Yeah.
We're all going to have dinner. I don't know who's going to cook.
Yeah.
But we're all going to have dinner together. And but I'm going to make sure that my wife and I come back here and experience this. You know, when I first found out about you, I started asking people. And I would say more than half hadn't heard about you or didn't. But the people that did said, hey, you need to go there. That place was really good. So thank you for doing this. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more years of success, and you're doing what a lot of guys dream about, and you dreamt about it, and you achieved your dream. And just congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much.